Welcome to the Coaches Cup podcast. I am Sonya Green from Sonya Green Coaching.
And I am No BS Coach Judith, one of the amazing coaches with the No BS weight loss program.
Today, we are talking about a great No BS topic, but a great topic for everybody: self-judgment.
Self-judgment. What it is, y'all. What self-judgment is a collective thinking process. And I'm going to go ahead and say it's habitual negative thinking.
Yes.
That we have about ourselves. And when we have these type of thoughts, self-judgment can bring about anxiety. It can bring about anger. And in some people, right, if you're spinning around in anxiety, you might be spinning around in some depression too, because you're believing your negative thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know in a lot of people, I have dealt with this. I've had clients deal with this. When you are in self-judgment, sometimes you don't even realize you are judging yourself, but you're seeking comforting actions.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I think back to a couple of weeks ago when we had Coach Jane on and talking about, those behaviors to bring us down to our normal level. Yes. And yeah. And so I always think of that when I think of self-judgment, because that from journaling, I discovered a lot of my habits were to calm me. And I didn't even know I needed calming. I didn't even know I was judging myself. But those were the thoughts that were going through my head.
Right. And on a similar vein, where I really started noticing was when I started working for No BS. And I've probably mentioned this somewhere along the way. And that's where I would judge myself right. Or being to the point of being in Corinne's Q&A. Now that that my nervous system is regulated and I can back out and understand how I was actually perpetuating the cycle because I was having, negative self-judgment all while I'm in there. Who are you? You don't know how to do it. You can't spell. You don't know grammar. All that stuff. But it had flown under the radar for so long. Yeah. And I don't even know that I believed it as much as it was just there, and I normalized it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's not a lot of times I think when we actually become aware and we break down what are the thoughts that are going through our head in those moments, when we get them out there, we're like, no, that's not true about me.
Yeah.
But it's on repeat in your brain. Like you said, you have normalized it to the point that you don't even hear yourself.
Right. And that, and for some, I have to tell you, even putting it on paper for me, sometimes I can still believe some of the judgments. I mean, I can look at it and be like, well, it's all thoughts. Well, yeah, but that's also true. I believe, so it's
yeah, I think you've said that to me.
Full disclosure. I still do the work. It's still super, the more I learn about myself, the more of an understanding of how pervasive my nervous system and the story I've told myself for so long. And I know all of us, it's everywhere.
Everywhere. So this leads in though. So why do you keep working on it? Why are you still working on it? You started 5 years ago doing this kind of work. Why are you still working on today? Why is it important that
I think, well, look, I always feel like I need to preface this. Like I was doing thought work, but with a dysregulated nervous system. It's not, it was never helpful. Like I could believe my way into creating new thoughts, but not recognizing the negative thinking or my nervous, especially when it came to anxiety, because once you would get jacked up, once you're in anxiety, and I had normalized anxiety for 25 years. So I just thought it was part of me, not realizing I was making it worse.
Right. But even if you're not a person who has that level of anxiety, I still think that self-judgment, we have to keep working on it. We have to keep catching those thoughts.
Well, and everything we do, I mean, if you're doing like getting a new job, working for Corinne, someone or any new employer or any new situation,
Yes.
anytime we're doing something new, our brains are designed to throw up the negative thinking.
Yeah.
It's a survival skill.
Yeah. A
It
little change hairball, right?
keeps the human alive. We are, the motivational triad is always at work.
Yeah.
So we're so used to hearing those negative, so used to hearing them. But we always have to question, especially, I just want to encourage, as I do go through this work, anytime you're doing something new,
Yes.
no matter what it is, be on the lookout for those new negative self-judgments.
Yeah, because like you said, our brain always wants to keep us safe,
Oh,
always wants to keep us in a cave. And
mhm.
so all the warning signs come out.
Ding,
And
ding, ding.
self-judgment is apparently a very efficient way to get us back in the cave, right?
It's going to keep us safe. It's going to keep us not sticking out in the herd, because we don't want to stick out. We want to blend in. We want to just fly
So
under the radar.
yesterday when we were talking, you posed what I thought was a great question, and I've been thinking about it a lot since then.
What was that?
Look at you. Yeah.
Hey.
You said because we were talking about how for me, it takes journaling, writing it down to catch those thoughts.
Mm.
And awareness is the first step to getting
Mm.
rid of self-judgment. And
Mm.
you said, when is reflection, thinking back in these moments, when is that not self-judgment?
Mm.
Have you thought about that since
I
then, or
have
did you
not thought
just
about that.
throw that little gem out and you forgot?
When is reflection not self-judgment,
Uh-huh.
right? Well, if it's negative, right, then it's going to be self-judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's neutral, it's based on the facts, right? An assessment of what happened, where we keep that curiosity spirit, or the neutral zone. And why not? If we're going to tell a story about ourselves, why not tell a better story?
Yes. Why not pick an amazing story to tell? Because both sides are available to us.
Always. It is so funny. We've been doing this podcasting thing for how long? And still, like,
Over 2 years.
sounds so redundant to say. Both sides are available. And I coach on it all day long, and I know you do too, that it still shows up in my thinking too.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Even though we say it, I sometimes forget it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, this is just a story I'm telling.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't serving me at all. And I have other stories I can tell.
Yeah. So, fun fact, to follow up on my anxiety call, and I was poloing with one of the coaches this morning about this story, and just remembering. So I was moderating Corinne's call today,
Mm-hmm.
and lucky me, wouldn't you know? Apparently on her laptop, whatever reason, on Zoom, she couldn't have me up because I kept showing up on her screen, so she put me back down. So I didn't have to do the Q&A, and but I was in the chat. So, but I had already decided ahead of time, doing some thought work, having my nervous system regulated, thinking great thoughts about myself. It's not that I'm a slow typer. It's that when I'm anxious, it feels all out of sorts. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just like a hot mess being in there. And
Yeah.
today it was so enjoyable. I was in the chat. I was pulling up links. I was so efficient. I was like, look at me. Look how fun this is. Sing. And that's one of the things too. We have to point out our successes as we
Yes.
transition over into like the antidote.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, finding your successes with awareness.
Yes.
I had awareness of my thinking, and then the celebrating your successes.
Yeah. And nobody, I mean, you can have 10 people tell you how fantastic you are, how efficient you are, how fun it is. And what good does that do if you don't believe it yourself?
None. And I think about when was the last time you were criticized by someone? When someone said hard words to you, how did that feel? And then think about all day long, if you're not aware of what you're thinking, you are literally creating those shitty feelings on purpose. That self-judgment is just seeping in the cracks of your soul.
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of, you're ruminating in it. You're just, or marinating in it. You just so, and you don't even realize it.
All day long.
Yeah. Just underlying.
It's an important, I honestly don't think we can not bring this up enough for ourselves.
Yeah.
For the ones we love.
Yeah.
And especially, when it's a problem.
So I've mentioned that awareness is the first step. We have to find a way to get that awareness. This is a broken record. You've heard me say it 10,000 times in the last 2 years, but there's no better way for me to catch those thoughts than to be writing, journaling about them in the moment. That's the way I catch them. That's the way I become aware of them. What other ways can you suggest for people who are dealing with self-judgment? They've got the awareness piece. They're starting to be aware. Now what?
Well, again, it's coming back to celebrating the positive and to focus on the positive things about yourself, to love yourself, right? Leaning into that. And I think another personal thing that I do is stop that overgeneralizing, looking.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Overgeneralizing about I'm a terrible typer. That was my story. It's just blanket statement. I'm just terrible. It's not true. I'm very good at hunting, pecking.
Yeah.
I have a story that you should type, that you should have the whole board memorized and know every key. And I don't know, 180 words a minute. What's a good number? I don't even know.
That's a big number.
In my mind, because what? I do come from a story of scarcity on that. It just occurred to me. I took keyboarding in college and dropped out of it because I was failing it. And then I took it again and dropped out of it again because I was failing it. I just could never, I probably because I was anxious. And now we might know now that I had myself so jacked up.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. That's interesting.
It is interesting. It's coming out live right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes so much sense. But yeah, that moving forward, we have to change the story. Awareness is one step, but you can be aware of your story. And if you're not looking for options to change it in your head on the daily, then it's just going to keep repeating there. You can't take it out without replacing it with something else.
Right.
And just stopping and saying, no, I'm a really good hunt and pecker. For somebody who
failed,
who dropped
out twice.
I am an amazing typist. I have really figured something out here.
I kicked it today. Yeah.
That story is just as true and feels a lot better.
So much better. It's so much better to get off the call being like, I did make some spelling mistakes because I did try to go fast, but you know what?
Do you want me to give you a little secret about that? After 30 years of writing on the board first in front of students, it is so, misspellings are everywhere all the time. And when you're nervous, that's the first thing to go.
Oh, well, and yeah, fast fingers, trying to be fast fingers.
But you know what? Our brains have an amazing ability to read words that are misspelled. You've probably seen those little things on Facebook, and the first letter of the word is there, but the other letters are wrong. Right. You can still read it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's no doubt you could read. I do know exactly.
Doesn't matter. As an English professor, I am here telling you nobody judges that. And I get to be the expert on that. So
Well,
if I say nobody judges, then you can let it go.
my employer hasn't said anything yet. We'll see. I want to do the best I can,
Because
clearly.
your
But
employer
it's
also makes typing mistakes from time
B
to
minus
time.
work. I'm going to do some
That's right.
B minus work.
Yeah. All
But I want
right.
to do A. I really do, y'all. It is my A work.
Listen, to have taught yourself to type, honestly, because I took typing, not keyboarding, typing on a typewriter
Mm.
in high school. And I can still hear my typing teacher go, J space, J space, JK space. In my head, like with us practicing, we would do those drills every day to warm up, and I can still hear those in my head. So I applaud anyone who can type without taking that.
It's funny as we're both talking about this. I was, Bev was our instructor in life coach
Mm-hmm.
school, and the story that stuck out in my head. Now, I think she was flying from somewhere like from England to Africa, and she downloaded a typing course on her computer.
Right.
I'm like, and taught herself to type because that was one of her tips. And that's probably another reason why I've scarred myself because I haven't done the Bev. She gave me the nugget. She said, take typing. She gave us all. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
She said
Yeah.
the best gift you can give yourself is to become a better typer. There you go, coaches. You're hearing another nugget right here.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah,
you know,
but I don't think she would ever want you to
yeah, beat
attach.
myself up.
Yes, I'll
Yeah.
attach all that self judgment to it. She
Yeah.
would have meant none of that.
Yeah. Oh, agreed, without a doubt. But
Yeah.
it's all unfolding lifetime right here on this conversation.
Right. No, that's what's so interesting about figuring out these pieces of our self judgment. When you really dig into them, they fall apart. I mean, they don't hold water.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
And like I said, it feels a whole lot better to believe the other story.
Much better. Yeah. Great typer. I do really well. I'm a self-made typer.
You are. You and my husband, he's an attorney and he types briefs all day long with two fingers. I don't know how he does it, but man, he flies.
Mm-hmm.
Works for him, works for you. So there you
Mm-hmm.
go. In my mind, you all are extraordinary.
And see, I will accept the compliments you're giving me. That's another
Mm-hmm.
thing to work on, releasing self-judgment and the negative thinking is to be someone who can accept the compliments
Yeah.
and see what other people see
Yes.
versus the version you're giving yourself. There are times where, we coach you not to look externally, but if
Mm-hmm.
you're someone who has a lot of critical self-talk, or find yourself swirling or not believing, and yet you're still achieving, because clearly I'm still achieving, like,
Yes.
okay, like it's time to take, yes, you're doing really well, Judith, for two fingers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is such a great point. Because if you are constantly pushing back against those compliments,
Mm-hmm.
then red flags should be waving at you.
Right. Because then you just get more negative,
Yes.
right? Because it's just like, it
Yeah.
just goes against your natural
Yeah.
grain.
And the one other thing I want to point out really quickly, I loved what you said, is that you're still achieving. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, I think people think that self judgment keeps people from moving forward. Uh-uh. We
Yes.
use it to beat ourselves forward,
Yeah.
and it does work to some extent. It
Mm-hmm.
just feels horrible. What
Yeah.
and you're not going to get your best results. I mean, I think about it like, if you have an animal, let's say you have a horse. Back in the old days when people would use a horse or I guess an ox to plow,
Mm-hmm.
they would sometimes whip it to get it to go faster.
Mm-hmm.
And it would, but I think there are better rewards or better ways to make the ox in my mind go faster than to
Right.
beat it, you know. And
Right.
and so we do get into that because it works. It was something we learned that works, but it's not the best choice.
Right. And an indicator, if you notice that after you do something, you feel this huge amount of relief,
Mm-hmm.
this you're feeling better, just it's probably even momentary, it's probably not the whole time.
Yeah.
That could be because you beat yourself there, you
Yes.
judged yourself the whole way there, that you were so glad. So we see clients do this on the scale, that they feel that momentary hit of relief,
Mm-hmm.
and they weigh
Yes.
in with weight loss, but then that backhand comes right back in, and we're
Mm-hmm.
just doing it back in that same cycle and beat yourself down all week. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we go?
No, I think that's it. Just think, don't believe your shitty thoughts. Oh, I'll offer one thing. Corinne doesn't say it anymore, since is that thinking of self-judgment is like the mayo on the shit sandwich. It's optional.
Ugh.
And I love that because that's just such a
That's an
visual.
image, isn't it?
It sticks, right? Like you
Ooh,
remember
yeah, yeah, it
that.
does. I hope your pun was intended there.
No,
Anyway, yeah,
no
but
mayo,
it is
no mayo, please. No mayo.
no mayo, please. But yeah, it's totally optional.
Mhm.
Totally optional. Better stories are out there, and it's kind of fun to figure out what those better stories are, right? It can be if we decide it is.
Yep.
Let's believe this for a while. Let's believe I'm an amazing typist. I'm an
I
amazing
am, and
two-fingered typist.
if y'all could see my smile, I feel so proud after today's call. I'm so, I might be a little too relieved, but no, I'm feeling joy. Actually, it's not relief. I feel joy
Well, it's
because
been
I'm
a
the mom.
road.
It's
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend who's witnessed the whole journey.
You need the joy. I'm all about the joy.
Oh, yeah, it's
All
good.
right. Well, if you're looking for coaching on self judgment or a variety of other topics, you can find me at sonyagreencoaching.com or on Instagram at Sonya, SONYA _ green coaching.
And you can find me coaching over in the Facebook group and Ask Coaches and all over with No BS, Losing 100. And on Instagram, Just Judy, JUSTJUDIE. I'd love to see you there too.
And don't forget our Facebook page, the Coaches
Oh,
Cup
yes.
Facebook
We've
page.
got to get in the habit of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would we love to hear from our listeners about self-judgment
Oh my gosh.
on the Facebook page?
I would love to hear, I would love to hear us share a story, something that we've shared in this podcast that inspired you, something that you noticed within yourself, something that we shared and you had an aha,
Mm-hmm.
and how you are now willing, right, to be that, that have that curiosity spirit, to be that scientist, as Corinne teaches us,
Yeah.
about how to have better thoughts.
Awesome. That sounds fun. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we'll see you all next week.
Bye.